Hey, welcome back. So I have a question for you. Are you making the most out of your day? Do you have a business? And do you need to get it organized to understand how you can actually get the most out of it? You know what you need? You need a productivity strategist. A what? You're going to find out exactly what that is because we have one right here, right now. My name is Dacquino. Her name is Renee DeVincenzo.
Thank you for having me.
Renee, a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Renee, what the heck is a productivity strategist?
What I do as a productivity strategist is I work with small businesses as well as self-employed professionals, helping them to identify the areas that they need to delegate out as an outsourced basis, as well as helping them to vision what is the core part of their business that they need to take care of, that they only can do.
Yeah, I imagine as an owner it's very difficult to see everything that's going on.
Exactly.
And it's important to kind of like make sure that you're using your time wisely.
Exactly.
And that's what you do.
That's what I do.
So you basically have them like map out their day and look at it?
Yes, actually I first evaluate what their business is, and then I put a plan of action in place for them to help them get the most out of their day. On a normal business day is 8 hours. And usually when you are in business by yourself, you are productive 6 hours out of that day because the first 2 hours you are trying to figure out what you need to do.
Yeah.
And with that is basically putting this plan of action in place on what it is that you need to do.
And when.
And when to do it. Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me because, you know, I am a writer, as you know, and it was difficult for me to try to get my writing into the day because so many other things were going on.
Yes.
And I couldn't focus. So what I did is I set up a schedule where I would go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and write until like 4 or 5, and then go back to bed.
Right.
Because phone didn't ring, no one was bothering me. I did get a couple emails at that time. I had some night owl friends. But for me, that was the best thing.
Right.
What I imagine you discover is that no two people are the same.
Exactly.
So you have to create like a profile for this business person.
Exactly.
Figure out how to make the day work.
Work for them.
For them.
For them on that. And that basically comes to your time management. We all say we do it. We have our phones, we put our appointments in there, and we believe that's time management. In reality, you have to visually see what it is you are doing in that time.
Yeah.
And to see what is taking too much time and when to stop working.
Yeah.
And
I had an interesting experience. I was a school teacher for 30 years. And then in the last 5 years, I was the director of teacher training.
oh wow.
So I had my little office, I had a secretary, and my job was to try to set up courses and programs for these teachers to help them be better teachers.
Right.
Well, what I realized very quickly is to get them organized, I had to get organized.
Exactly.
And you're right. I had to write down all these things. Every time I got a phone call about something, I couldn't say, well, I'll do it later. I had to write it down so I remembered to do it later.
Exactly.
And there were so many little things, and it really is trying to fit everything you have to do within a time frame.
Right.
And that could be very difficult.
It is very difficult because the one thing that you have to remember is you cannot make a second first impression on your business. What people see the first time is what they will always remember. So when it comes to your organization aspect or part on that is, and again, it depends on what your business is, if it's marketing or if it's even you're going to networking events, make sure that you have your information all in one area. So if someone asks for a business card, you are able to give them a business card. If someone...
You can't be searching around.
You can't be searching around.
I have one around here somewhere.
And just crinkles off and maybe a little note on that. Yeah. So and I do find challenging for a lot of my clients is they have home-based businesses, and their office is in their home, and it's your business, but it's also your personal area.
Right.
So you really do need to be accountable. And as a self-employed professional, we're not, because we're the boss. We're
So
the
do you
employee.
create like a list for them and say, okay, look, here's the things we need to think about. And then you go through like this whole list of things to think about?
Yes, actually what I will do is first, if they are a business owner that is just too busy and they cannot take care of their admin work, I do work with them on outsourcing. Could be their database to get their clients in order.
So you don't actually do books for them. You
I
just,
do the admin aspect of keeping their business running smoothly,
so
because
that
a
they
lot
can
of
see how it should be done.
Right. A lot of times we are running our business is running us instead of we are running the business. So I will put a system in place of correct filing aspects for them, just to get them set up so they can do it themselves. But if they're too busy, they can hire me out as on project. I work with them on projects.
So you pretty much
monthly.
set them up and get them going.
I do.
You don't really work with them on an ongoing basis?
It depends. It depends. I do have
Some of them
clients
need
that are monthly, yes, where they do need that.
And you just come in and you go, uh-oh.
This is what
you're
we
not
need to
doing this,
do.
and you're not doing this. Yeah,
And it's to keep
makes
them
sense.
it keeps them in order and to get what
Yeah.
needs to be done.
Yeah,
So
holds them accountable.
it keeps them accountable. And then there are people who have in business, it's marketing. And the way I work with my clients in marketing is I walk in as though I'm your client. If I'm not getting your marketing message, others
Yeah.
are not either. So we revamp. We look at what is your key. What are you trying to say? And let's get that out. And that could be through email marketing, where I've designed templates, getting their marketing message out, making sure it's scheduled, checking their click rate, their engagement rate. And a lot of times people think with email marketing it's the open rate. It's not the open rate. 99% of people will open up their email. 81% will be on their phone. 75% will
Yeah, I was on the
delete.
phone all the time.
Yeah, 75% will delete your email if it's not mobile friendly, and then 30% out of that 75 will unsubscribe. So you always want to make sure that you have mobile friendly templates, and you also want to check your click rate, because that is when people are engaging, and you can see where they have gone on your website to get more information about your business. So now your targeting market is now you're seeing who's your target market, because you're knowing what their business is.
And if you're actually reaching them.
And if you are reaching them, a lot of people like to do emails, and email is fine. On the same note, you can't actually get that right report. So
Yeah.
depending on your email marketing that you're comfortable with, and there's several out there.
And clients are different. Some clients need the telephone. They
Yes.
need to hear your voice.
Exactly.
Others are fine with email.
Yes.
And I understand that.
Yes.
And that's, I imagine, something that you have to make them very aware of.
Exactly.
That a target audience changes.
Right.
They're not all the same.
They aren't all the same, and a lot of people do not like phone calls because they take it as a cold call. The way I
Yeah.
always share with my clients is send out an email if you've met someone. Do a nice email marketing template. Let them know where you met them. Recap back on what you do, meet them for coffee, then tell them you're going to contact them next week. So what happens now, if you're contacting them next week and you're introducing yourself, and you could say, I'm following up on the email I sent you last week, and they'll say, oh, I might have they didn't get it. Well,
Yeah.
now you're intro though, but that's not a cold call. So they're saying, oh, you sent me something and I didn't get it. But now that's that introduction of
Yeah.
saying, well, this is what I sent, and I'd love to meet you for coffee to learn more about your business.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting how many people will turn off on a cold call.
exactly.
Never heard
I don't
from
even
you.
like them.
Don't want to hear from you. If it was important, I would have heard from you by now.
Exactly.
And they just
Exactly.
click.
They just click on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, time management. So it's a matter of trying to understand. Now, again, I relate this to my writers. My writers say, well, I'm writing, and I say when, where, and how.
Exactly.
And they say, yeah, but did that make a difference? I said, it makes all the difference.
It does.
You will be surprised how much productivity you can get by writing in the morning or the afternoon
Exactly.
or the night.
Right.
And it depends on who you are.
Yes.
There's no right way. It's a right way for you. And I imagine that's your job.
Yes.
Finding what's right for that particular client. And some of them, again, have to do their home duties early in the morning or in the middle of the day
Right.
or at the end of the day. Do you find that they home business people need 8 hours, an 8-hour stretch? Do you break it up that way?
Basically, what I try to say is keep it a 5-day work week as though you would be going out to your office if you were working
Good
for
idea.
someone else. I definitely say find a location in your home that you can make your own as an office.
Yep.
Kitchen table does not work.
That's what I do to writers. I tell writers, for some writers, kitchen table does work.
Right. It
And
depends.
some the attic.
Right.
You make a little room in the attic or in the
Right.
basement.
Right.
Or your bedroom.
Right.
It's different for each
It is different
person.
for everyone, and it depends on what your business is. As I was sharing with the kitchen table, if you have a family and you have to make dinner and all of that, now you got to pack up
Your
everything.
husband or wife
and you
is
got,
making the soup while you're
exactly.
sitting at the table
And you want to be
trying
able
do
to go
business.
back to work to where it was. So what we do for this time management is first find out what your family needs from you. Get your personal first on this time management program. Then incorporate your business on how you going to work your business. Also, I always say is you have to have one day that has to be business all day. It could be following up on whatever it needs you could do. If you're so busy that you just need to meet more clients and the clients are calling you, yes, that's where you have to see, do you need to hire someone full-time? Do you need someone part-time? Or do you just need someone as you need them?
A few years ago, and it's been a few, I saw a very interesting business concept pop up. I believe it was in Ocean City, Maryland. And they rented a huge office space and they put desks. And different companies could go in and rent that desk.
Exactly.
And all the rest of the office was something else.
Yes.
They had a place to go to 8 hours a day.
Yes.
And they sat at that desk and they did what they had to do. At the end of the day, they closed it up and went home.
Exactly.
Now that makes so much sense to me because sometimes people can't work at home. There's too much going on. If you have 6 kids, I don't know how you run the business with 6 kids.
Or a barking dog like I have. Or my twins, my grandchildren twins that are with us at the moment. But I do say to that is go to the library. There are times where I will take the information I need, my laptop, whatever it is that I need, and I go to the library. I can't answer my phone. It is quiet.
I know.
And you get so much work
The
done.
Mahopac Library actually has workrooms.
They do.
And you could go in,
Yes.
and I've met writers in these rooms.
Yes.
We went in with our computers, and we sat down, and we closed the door.
Exactly.
And it was a private office.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's an idea, too.
That's
You know,
it doesn't cost you anything. And
No.
a lot of times too, when it comes to our businesses, is that we believe that we need everything high tech. And my belief is you need to build your business on a strong foundation. You need to be able to still be running your business when, weather hits. Life is going to throw you a curveball.
Oh, I know.
And you have to ask yourself, can I still work my business when I have to work on something else that came across that
when
wasn't
the twins
around.
are sick.
When the twins are sick, yes, helping my daughter with the twins, or my other daughter who's moving to Colorado with her husband. So you have to balance.
Yeah. And there's that little voice that is the demon for so many writers, Mr. Procrastination, who sits in the back of your brain and tells you, hey, we don't have time to be doing this. We need to be cleaning the car, or making a turkey, or doing something else. And it's so easy to be distracted, especially if it's boring.
Yes.
And there's some aspects of business that are boring.
Yes.
And you don't want to be there. But if you're home and you have all these other things that need to be done, it's so easy to say, yeah, but my kids are important.
Yes.
And you walk away from it, and there goes your time management.
Right.
Because the time that you should have been putting in for that now gets moved someplace else.
Right.
That gets moved somewhere else.
Right.
And that doesn't get done.
No, it doesn't.
So you can be in trouble.
You can be in trouble, and that is where your accountability comes in, and that is why I created the Accountability Support Program.
It's Accountability Support Program.
This is actually going to help you to see how you are working, what you need to get done, and to balance everything. And the one thing that I say too is that you know, your family does need you. And when you are working with time management, and I know we've been talking this a lot about, it will help you to get to the next step. It will also keep you accountable. Plus, the way you run your business and the way you are accountable to yourself, your children are going to learn from you. And that's going to help them better to be more organized, multitasking, what have you. And if I could just say, share a short story. This was actually my daughter at one time had said to me, we were driving and we were talking about something, and she said, well, I learned from you, Mom, because of all you did with your clients. I swear, I was like, what? You know, you listen to me? Wow. But your children watch you a lot. And if you do have a home-based business, always try to be the best that you can be, but always be there for them. So the accountability program is really helping you to identify what is holding you back. And several aspects are your office. You don't like the way it's set up. There are times you may have to change some things. It's also one client that I had, she did not like to track. She was overwhelmed. So I had to simplify that for her. She didn't like Excel. It didn't work for her. So she was a paper pencil person or paper pen. And I set up a system for her that was a little bit more easy for her receipts to be tracked. Old school and other ways of keeping track on your clients.
Sometimes, you know, if you can find that easy way to do things, and there are times that we discover that things are taking much more time than they should.
Exactly.
And there's some facts that you cannot change. One is there's 24 hours in a day, and those 24 hours need to be divided. You need about 8 of those for sleep, and now you're reduced. So you have to figure what to do with those 16 hours. And again, they have to be in a way that's most productive.
That's most productive for
you.
you.
So you need a productivity strategy. And that's very important. So you help them realize what it is they need to do to be more productive. And that makes sense. Now, I have a question for you. When did all this happen for you?
When did all this happen for me?
did you get out of high school and say, I think I'll be a productivity strategist?
You know, it's funny. You know, I actually graduated high school and I was a cosmetologist. So from 18 on, I had did, you know, the cosmetology line, cutting hair and what have you. But I was always doing something with admin. I was taking care of the desk. I was calling appointments, selling products, and even selling my services. Oh, okay. So you understand.
And I completely understand. You know, and you have to know that while this one's getting shampooed, you should be doing this.
Exactly.
And while this one's getting her hair dyed and waiting for it to dry or whatever, you should be doing this. And there has to be a time when you're calling your clients and saying, hey, you're due for color, you know.
And keeping up the appointments to make sure they show, because if they don't show, you don't make money, right?
And it's all about appointments. If you're not meeting your appointments, you're not getting paid.
You're not getting paid with that, So I was a cosmetologist, and I always thought I would be one. And then I had met my husband, and we traveled. Our first part of our marriage. He had played professional ball with the White Sox, so we
he was a professional ball player for the White Sox?
He was. We were in the minor league system. We went to a lot of different areas, and when we came back home as a mom, I had my daughter. I wanted to still be busy doing something. I still cut hair a bit, dabbled in a little bit of indirect sales, and then went back to cutting hair, and that's when it hit me. I never had a plan B. And what happens in life, right? You know, you think you're going to do something. What happens if I got hurt? What happens if I can't cut hair? That's where I went more into direct sales, and I became a sales director with Mary Kay Cosmetics. And with that is where I had found I liked what I did. I really did love it, but it wasn't my passion. And with that said, running as a sales director, you have your clients, you have your everything that you need to do, but you're only one person. And I needed help when I needed help. At those days, they didn't have that. It was either full-time or part-time. Stepped down from that, went back to work, and that's when the economy hit. And I thought, well, who's the first person to go but an administrative assistant who works for a nonprofit organization? And they're going to now figure out how everybody can delegate do their own work. And that is when I started to research. We did outsource payroll, I said there's got to be some way people need help with office work on an outsourced basis. 2012, I started my business. I still worked, and economy did happen. I did get laid off, and in 2014 is when I have been working for myself as doing what I'm doing and sharing with you.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it sounds great. And, you know, you reach a point in your life where you ask yourself, what's important?
Exactly.
You know, and one thing about getting older is you have hindsight. You know? You can look back at what you've done.
Oh, gosh,
and say, you know, was I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
And I know that even in my writing, I published my first book in 1982. And then there was a long lull because I was a father and trying to raise these kids and teach school and do all these other things.
Yeah.
Until finally I was able to get back into it. And then I realized, okay, you're going to have to make room for this. You can't steal time.
You can't.
I was stealing weekends and stealing nights.
Exactly.
And I had to figure that, you know, no more stealing.
Right.
I have to give it its due.
Right.
Give it a proper time
Right.
to get it done. And then eventually I've written 12 books. You know, you learn how to be productive.
You do.
And you can't do it by stealing time. You have to do it by allotting time.
Yeah, allotting the time on that. And stealing time is something you'll never, ever get back. And
Yeah.
your kids are very, very important.
Oh, well, kids, oh my God. Neighbor across the street was going to have a baby. And I said, he says, hey, any good advice? I said, absolutely. When your son falls asleep in front of the TV set or on the floor, pick him up gently and treasure the moment.
Oh, definitely.
Because at one point you're going to reach down and that little kid's going to have hair on his legs.
Yeah, they're going to be married.
They just, all of a sudden,
You're going to be a grandparent.
yeah, 4-year-olds become 14-year-olds,
Yes, they
become
do.
40-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know, and time goes by and you don't get it back.
And that's why I created my business. My business is MDR Administrating Services, and I have seen this a lot where you're trying to work your business, but your family needs you. And this is why I started to give my expertise in being in the administrative field for over 25 years, with that in direct sales for over 10, that you can have both.
Yes.
It's just that you have to
Learn how to juggle it.
learn how to juggle it, but also take responsibility for your own actions.
Right.
You know,
And create a priority list.
and create and how should I always say, when new ideas are brought to you, don't say I've already tried that. You might have tried it, but maybe it was tried differently. You know, maybe the way you tried it wasn't working for you. Always have an open mind for change, because that's
Change
when
is the hardest part. Oh my God. When I was working as a director of teacher training, getting teachers to change
oh, it's very
was
hard.
very difficult
hard,
because,
very hard.
you know, they don't want to lose what worked.
Right.
But times change.
Yeah.
Children change.
Yeah.
The world changes.
Exactly.
And you have to be able to go with it. Same thing with you. When economy changes, you can't be doing what you were doing before.
Exactly.
It just, things
Right.
change. And I imagine with business it's the same way. Once you lay it out and it's perfect, be ready to change it when you need to.
Yes, and I will definitely say use pencil every time you're making your appointments in your booklet, because what happens a lot is we think by working the week and making that appointment in the week, you're not working. What's happening is you're trying to make those appointments. So you right now should be having next week already established with your appointments, where you're going, what meetings you're going
You can't
to.
be at the spur of the
You can't be
moment.
working in.
Although you must allow for, if all of a sudden you get 5 clients to call you, and you have to know how to
Juggled and how you're
Juggle.
going to make this. And I will always say to business owners, don't ever say you have no clients. No one knows the needs of. You're busy. It's the same thing as a doctor. You're going to go to a doctor because they're busy. They know.
Yeah.
You're not going to go to a doctor who doesn't have anybody in their office.
That's right.
So you as a business owner, you're always busy even if you have no clients. And if you cannot make an appointment with the client, have it more in a business aspect by saying, I'm already booked on this time,
Yeah.
or, this time is already taken. Can we do next week? But one key point I will say is when you are wanting to make an appointment, always give choices. When you're speaking with a client and you want to make an appointment, ask them which day of the week is better for you, the beginning of the week or the end of the week. Let them make a decision. Then say, if it's the end of the week and Thursdays and Fridays are good for you, you will ask them, does Thursday or Friday work best for you? If they give you a day, then say, is morning or afternoon better for you? Let them pick that afternoon. Then you pick the time and you suggest the times that work in your schedule.
Yeah,
and now, bingo, you got the appointment.
Yeah, because it
So
does
always
have
give
to be a
choices.
combination
Right.
of both.
Right.
Because if you're working on a crisis mode, and that's it, all the clients want to be on Thursday.
Yeah.
It's not going to work for you.
And it's
'Cause
not going to
You
work.
can't do it. You're going to
Right.
squeeze them in, and you're going to be cheating somebody.
Right, because, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, and I know I said you cannot make a second first impression. If you're squeezing everybody in,
Yeah.
you are not going
Yeah.
to be, how should I say, accountable to yourself to get everything done right.
Yeah, and if you're not confident in yourself,
Right.
they're not going to be confident
You're going
in
to
you.
make mistakes.
You're
That's
going to
what's
make
going to happen.
mistakes,
You're going to make
and
mistakes.
they're going to lose confidence
Right.
in you.
And they're going to respect you
important.
more. They're going to respect you more when
Yeah.
you say, I'm already booked at that time, because they're going to go, oh, okay, this person's really busy. I really want to meet with this person.
Well, speaking of time management, we're about 2 minutes left in this show.
Oh, wow, this
Time
is great.
goes by when
It
you're having
does.
fun, you
This
know.
is great.
So, what can we say to this audience so that they understand the importance of what you do?
Okay. Well, what I can best say is always know what you are going to be doing the next day. To have a notebook, write everything down, follow up on that, and if
Be organized.
Be organized with that. And if you're finding that you're challenged in some areas and you want to get a better understanding of how you can work better for yourself, please feel free to speak with me. Feel free to go to my website, mdracs.com.
And you're there, you're ready to help.
I'm ready to help, and I'm more than happy to speak with you in a consultation.
And there's no shame in needing help.
You know what? There isn't, and I will tell you that by recognizing that, we all need help, and you'll move forward in 2018.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you need help, go get it. You need a productivity strategist. Get someone to help you understand what you need to do. So you're not jumping and running around all the place. Renee, I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you so much
were
for having me.
wonderful.
Thank you very
And there's
much.
so many people out there struggling to make their day work.
Yes.
Stop struggling, make it happen, and thank you for tuning in to One on One with Dacquino and Renee DeVincenzo.
Thank you.